What's good, people? Rasati out here in Singapore, and it is the Night Owl podcast. I'm back on it. It is mid-afternoon, so regardless of whether it's a night owl or not, I'm still on here, okay? Just get over it. But in the meantime, I want to talk to you about the fact that I have been doing a lot of contemplating as usual. You know me, I don't sit still for long, and I do get very, very inspired by a lot of things that are going on. So lately, baby girl and I have been watching, what is it called now? Greenhouse Academy, and it's been kind of cute and everything, just watching teenagers go about their business trying to figure out how to become the great leaders of the future or whatever. And I was very, very inspired by one episode in particular where the young man had survived a near-death experience only to find out that they were possibly going to be paralyzed the rest of their life. Now, there was an option and a possibility for them to get into rehab and be able to gain all of their, their bodily controls back, but it was a slim to none chance. So it began in their mindset for the first thing. Now, there was a scene in this particular episode where he had just figured out, he doesn't have that much mobility. He wasn't saying anything to anyone because he was quite embarrassed and kind of upset that, life was not going to be the same anymore. And then one of his classmates came up to him and was like, yo, you're going to be okay, right? And he immediately got upset and brushed him off and kind of threw a temper tantrum. Now, I want to talk about that moment because we do this a lot with each other. And it's meant with the greatest of intentions. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's all, it's all love. I'm trying to tell you, you know what? It's going to be okay. It'll be all right. But in that moment, when you feel despair, when you feel anxiety, when you feel depression, you can't take that compliment or that sign of encouragement as a sign of encouragement. It becomes one of those demeaning things where, what do you mean it's going to be okay? It's not going to be okay. I don't see the end of this suffering. I don't feel like this is something that I could manage right now because maybe the news is still fresh. Maybe the pain is still fresh. But the point being, you're going to react violently to someone simply saying, you know what? It's going to be okay. This too shall pass. There is a silver lining. Nah, fuck all that noise. I don't want to hear it. This is not what I want to hear right now. But please believe me when I tell you that anger you feel in that moment is necessary. That anger could be what you need to fuel yourself to beat whatever circumstance you happen to be facing. Maybe it's cancer. Maybe it's, making a decision about whether or not you move forward with an injury to go to rehab or you just let it be what it is. Maybe it's what you need to fight through a difficult situation in the house where no one is talking to each other and you're just very, very upset about something that happened. I'm throwing out a lot of blank, vague situations right now, but I'm trying to get you to see a point. The anger you feel when someone says, you know what, it's going to be okay, is necessary for you in that moment. It's what you need to get your ass moving. A lot of times, we get to a place where we're watching horoscopes. You read horoscopes to see what's in store for us today. You read tarot card readings. You look for signs. You're asking the universe, tell me what I need to do next. And sometimes what they tell you is not what you want to hear. But is it? Sometimes in that moment, you don't want to hear it. So the reaction you need to get your ass moving and into gear is exactly what you need in that moment. I believe in kismet. I believe in fate. I believe everything is delivered to you exactly when you need it to. So whether you get the information you're looking for or you get the response that you never in your life imagined, and you have the reaction you're meant to have in order for you to move forward. Now, let me give you another very, very hit close to home kind of example. Quarantine. A lot of us don't want to hear that quarantine is exactly what we need right now. But let's talk about this. A lot of you have been complaining since the beginning of the year about how you hate your job. A lot of you have been talking about, you know what, I wish I didn't have to punch a clock. I wish I didn't have to go into these, to see these bunch of people. I wish I didn't have to be in class anymore. I wish I was done with all of my studies. And you've been upset with your life situation, where you are currently. But now that you're in quarantine and everything's changed, you suddenly wish you had that life back. But why? All the things you were complaining about, you now have the possibility or the space to be able to contemplate what it is that your life should look like, ideally. You could build it right now because you have the time. You could dream it up if you wanted to because you have the time. But you don't want to hear that quarantine is exactly what you needed at the moment. Why? Because it's reducing it's reducing the availability for you to do anything else other than contemplate, other than really look at your life situation, your circumstances. No one wants to do that. No one wants to reflect that damn long. 30 days until May the 4th. Yeah, May the 4th be with you. But still, that's a long ass time. especially for people who have never been taught how to reflect, how to become self-aware, how to look at their belongings, how to look at their surroundings, how to look at their relationships and see what's necessary and what's not. It's a simplifier mentality right now. And it's hard because you don't want to get rid of things. You don't want to minimize. You have attachments to everything in your life right now. But when people say, you know what, it's going to be okay, you can't afford to get mad at them every time either. Maybe okay means that you're going to be in a situation after all of this is done where you never imagined you could be before. Maybe before coronavirus, your idea of success is going to be very, very different from your idea of success after coronavirus. Maybe before, success meant that you're going to have tons of money and plenty of time to spend the money, and you're going to have plenty of people around you because you want to have company while you spend the money. And maybe after coronavirus, that looks more like, you know what, I want quality friendships. I want people who are going to be there no matter what. Whether they're able to be with me or not, they're going to check in on me. They're going to be around. They're going to ask me questions. They're going to notice when I go silent all of a sudden. Now I know who my real friends are. Maybe that's the difference between before and after coronavirus. Same thing with major injuries. This young man from the Greenhouse Academy who was worried about the paralysis changing his entire life, when his friend told him that he was going to be okay, he got mad. Why? Because his idea of okay before the accident is very different from what okay is going to look like after the accident, because there's so much uncertainty. You don't know how it's going to turn out. You don't know if even if you go to rehab, you'll get all your full mobility back. So please pay attention. People are doing what they can with the best of intentions. And maybe they think, it's going to be okay is the best that they can do at the time to encourage you. Maybe they don't have any more energy to give. Take it with a grain of salt and do what you got to do for you. Understand, before trauma and after trauma, your idea of what your life should look like is going to be different. But everything will turn out okay. Everything will turn out exactly the way it's supposed to turn out. Because you were not meant to sit still this long. You were not meant to complain and punch a clock and complain and punch a clock for the rest of your life. You were meant to live, to experience life, to really feel everything that happens. And no, it's not meant to be all pleasant. Because where would be the fun in that? Where would you appreciate the pleasant if you only had pleasant? You need the tough with the good. You need the difficult with the easy. It's just the way of the world. So please, when people try their best to encourage you and say, you know what, this too shall pass. You know what, it'll be okay. I know you're going through something that is bigger than you've ever been through before. Right now, this is pain worse than you've ever felt before. I get it. But they're doing the best they can and they mean it in the best way possible. So take it with a grain of salt and you do what you got to do. You focus where you need to focus. Get yourself together. Figure out what it is you really want and decide for yourself what success means, especially post-coronavirus. I hope this makes sense to you guys. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, drop them in the comments below. I want to hear from you. But in the meantime, if you're having a tough time, you don't know where to turn, you need somebody to help guide you through this nonsense. Maybe the noise inside your head is too loud right now. Hit me up. You know where to find me. You know I'm here to help. But in the meantime, do what you got to do. Focus, baby. You got this. It's only 30 days. All right, you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.